Hello, welcome to the 1516 Biology Curriculum Overview for our last and final unit, 14, Making Connections. So for the Making Connections unit, TRS suggested a duration of 10 days. However, for GPISD, after taking the STAR exam, students have been allotted 17 days for Making Connections starting on May 9th all the way through May 31st. This unit, of course, is all-encompassing everything that the students have learned throughout the course of the year. They now get to extend that learning into applying those biological concepts together and making the connections through everything that they have done. And we want them to also implement the learning and understanding by designing and implementing an experiment that is research-based and has a very good hypothesis. And please make sure the hypotheses are if-then statements. After this unit, the students will engage in experimental design throughout the remaining high school coursework, chemistry, physics, etc. So this opportunity that they are receiving in biology is very crucial and important for their success in making connections and utilizing those processing skills as they further begin to analyze and go into depth with understanding the different parts of science. There is only one PA for this unit, which is here. They were researching an important experimental investigation conducted by a biologist and led to a significant discovery in the history of biology. Use the information from your research to design and implement an experimental investigation of your own that includes the following elements: a testable problem, a hypothesis, detailed experimental procedures, including safety precautions, appropriate equipment, appropriate data, valid conclusions. Additionally, write and present a report that follows the design of the investigation and communicates results and conclusions. Your report should also include a brief description of the significant scientific discovery you choose to research. And there are a number of processing skills that are embedded throughout making connections. Well, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through and read all of these processing skills, but I did want to give you a brief overview of the processing skills that are going to be covered. B2B, we have that over knowing the hypothesis, just basically writing hypotheses that are testable and testable statements with a dependent and independent variable that again can be tested. B2E, planning and implementing the different types of investigations, descriptive, comparative, and experimental. I'll give you some more ideas of different things you can do further on in the presentation. 2F, collecting and organizing qualitative and quantitative data and making measurements with accuracy and precision using different tools within the experiment. 2G, analyzing and evaluating, making inferences and predicting trends from data. These are all processing skills that they have been utilizing or should have been utilizing all throughout the school year as they were going through the 5E model. And 2H, communicating those valid conclusions through your data, methods of lab reports, drawings, graphic organizers, etc. And a few additional processing skills: 3D, 3F, evaluating the impact of scientific research on society and the environment. That goes back to the history, which is relevant in 3F, research and describe the history of biology and the contributions of scientists. So all of this is being tied into this one PA, which gives them ample time because they have 17 days to come up with a concrete experimental investigation. If they have time, I would definitely say allow them to implement that investigation if they have all the resources available to them. Now, a few essential questions that you definitely want to be sure you're asking the students as they are going through the process of developing their experiments. In what ways are scientific concepts connected? That goes back to understanding the connection through all the concepts they've covered from Unit 1 all the way to Unit 14 or Unit 13. In what ways are the processes of scientific inquiry valid? And being able to explain that, understanding what that question is asking, understanding what it means, and can scientifically articulate that to you or anyone else that asks them that question. Key content vocabulary, of course, one of our main words, which is scientific. And here are other related vocabulary that they will definitely be using throughout this unit. We have a few misconceptions, so definitely read through each of the misconceptions and know how to convey to the students or allow them to understand the misconceptions throughout their discovery process and the experiment, and address these misconceptions, how students may view science as a process. Um, we use science to confirm what we already know rather than an opportunity to test new hypotheses, which is a misconception. Students may think scientific methods always includes the same steps and has definite start and end points. That's definitely false because everything is different in science. Everything is trial and error. A hypothesis is an educated guess. No, it's not. It is a tentative explanation for an observation which can be tested. And of course, additionally, it has an independent and dependent variable. And students may think that the concepts learned in biology are unrelated concepts, and that's the big misconception we have all throughout the year. The students don't think these concepts connect and they don't understand the big picture. So this is a great opportunity to allow the students to go back and understand the connection of everything they've done from ecology all the way up to now biomolecules, ecology, cells, and just understand how everything connects together and how living things work and function as one. Now, a few suggestions for investigations with doing comparative investigations. Of course, everyone will do their own animal dissections. You can do the pig, the frog, some do earthworm, crawfish, fetal pigs. I said that. Um, so there are different types of animals that you can dissect. If you haven't already purchased them prior to now, then it may, of course, be too late to get that done this year if you don't have any allowed available in your classrooms or in your storage prep rooms. So in that case, you can definitely use the virtual option, and there are several virtual options that you can use for comparison investigations. Descriptive investigations, one that I did was plant adaptations with the tropisms. So students have to do an investigation and go out into the environment and identify different tropisms, explain what are different tropisms, and explain their role within the environment or that ecosystem that they are within. Another is experimental investigations. There are several different options. There's a list of questions that are in the Dropbox that you can provide students. They have a question that they're given. They have to come up with the different parts of the investigation. And in some cases, they are able to investigate further and implement the investigation. So if you would see the Secondary Science Shifter Resources Dropbox, and all of the information will be there available for you. Lastly, I would just like to say it has been my pleasure to do the curriculum overviews for you. I hope they have been beneficial for you throughout the school year. It is the end of the year. We made it. You made it. I made it. Definitely, this is the month of May, and we appreciate each and every teacher for all your hard work, everything that you do to support your students, to support your campuses, and allowing me to support you and you supporting me and the science team. So thank you very much for everything, and I hope that you all have a great and safe summer, and look forward to seeing you next year. Have a good one.